about the past. Historians have found out many ways to support what they write about the past. What sources, evidences, or materials? Now, they are archaeological sources or literary sources. Now, sources are important. That means, how do we know about the past? How do we come to know about the people in the past? What did they do? It is only through these two headings. One is archaeology and the other is literary. Now, what is archaeology? It is the study of the past of the ancient people through the things left behind by them. Whatever thing was left behind by them, by the people, early people, that was taken out, digged out from the soil, dug out from the soil, and was seen, studied, and was recorded in history as a record. Now, the first jota tells you the excavations can be planned on a mound, or sometimes mounds are found by accidents. So many a times, whatever you do, excavation means to find out. To excavate means to dig open a soil and find out the material that is to be used. I hope the recording is being done. Okay, very good. Keep on recording, keep on recording. Then the second step is collecting the objects by removing the mud. Sorry, lost the lines. Wait a second. There it is. The second step is collecting the objects by removing the mud from them and then carefully labeling them. Each object is photographed and labeled according to the layer in which it was found. Now, since the objects are being dug open from the soil, so obviously there will be different layers in which these objects would be found. The oldest objects will be found deeper inside the earth, whereas the objects which are recently used would be found at the upper layer of the earth. After finding these objects, they are labeled according to the layers of the earth in which they are found, and the chronology is maintained. Chronology means date-wise record. Then the archaeologists date the object discovered. For this, different scientific techniques are used. Please stop. It's called radiocarbon dating or carbon 14 dating. For example, dating of bones is done by this method. Now,
Ma'am, someone muted you.
Ma'am, your voice is not coming.
Ma'am, your voice is not coming.
Ma'am, someone muted you.
please open it.
Ma'am, I have opened.
Ma'am, your voice is not coming.
Ma'am, your voice is not coming.
Now, can you hear? Who's this? Don't touch my mic, please. Okay. There's somebody who's fooling around. Okay. Carbon 14 dating. It is basically, since it is not given in detail. We will only just talk about it. It is one of the techniques used by archaeologists to find out the age of an or living being which was once alive. Here, from the bones and remains of the dead animals, plants, and various other things, the dating is done. Carbon 14 dating is done, and age of the age of that particular dead animal is checked through carbon 14 dating. Please keep a check. Nobody should close my mic, okay? Okay, after that, the last and final step is to interpret or try to find out what that object tells us, the history of the evidence we have collected. The objects found in Mohenjo-daro, that is Indus Valley civilization, tell us the kind of jewelry people wore, their houses, customs, toys, pottery, etc. So now the last thing they are telling you is the final step in which they interpret whatever data they collect, whatever these archaeologists collect, they accumulate it, they look forward, they study it properly, they do carbon dating, and then they come to know the age in which this animal, which is now dead, is found. And likewise, date wise, they keep the record. And once they keep the record, it acts as a source for us to know in history. Okay, this particular dead body or this particular creature lived at this time. So this is the archaeological evidence or the way we do the process of excavating and finding out facts. Then the next heading is archaeological sources. Just a second. Archaeological sources. Wait a second. I lost the page. Yes, archaeological sources. All of you can see? Now, archaeology is study of the past of the people who lived long ago through the things they left behind. What are those things? Now, many years back, whatever people used, and when those remains of those things were found, they were studied by the archaeologists, and this studying of the past left out remains of what people used in the olden times is called archaeological source. Now, what are the things which act as a source? Pottery. Pottery means the things, the utensils they used in the past. Then the tools, whatever tools they used, buildings, the places where they lived were called buildings. So through the remains of the buildings, we come to know. Then the paintings they drew, mostly on the walls of the caves, etc. So we come to know what all they drew. They were hunters. The paintings of hunting were there. Then the remains of the bones were found, and then the coins, etc. All these things lie buried in the ground. They remain buried in the ground for thousands of years, and a mold of rubbish, soil builds up over them. The archaeologists dig these molds and find things buried under them. The objects that lie deeper are the oldest evidence or sources of history. As I told you, the objects which are buried deep inside the soil, which are the deepest, are the oldest ones, and the ones which are on the top layers are the new ones. So gradually they remove that rubbish, remove the mud from them, and then they take out the pottery, the remaining tools, the buildings were there, the paintings, bones, the coins used by the early people. And through studying these objects, they come to know what kind of life the early people lived. So the first step is digging or excavation. These excavations can either be vertical or horizontal. There are four kinds of archaeological sources, and these are sites, monuments, coins, and inscriptions. So now the four ways in which archaeologists study. What do they study once they dig out things? The first thing is the sites, the second is the monuments, third is the coins, and fourth is the inscriptions. Now we will go into the detail of all these 4-5 things which you have just now called out in the next class. And very soon beforehand, I will tell you the next class. Next class will be on Monday, and I'll let you know the timing beforehand. Now, for now, we disperse of the class, and I hope somebody has recorded. Yes, Omkesh has recorded. Thank you, Omkesh. So now you stop the recording, Om.